Localizer is a Geometry Dash player who is not only immensely skilled, beating some of the game's hardest levels, but also someone who has made Geometry Dash history, such as his verification of Silent Club, a formerly impossible extreme from Update 1.6. When considering the massive impacts he has made on the game, however, a few questions remain. How did Luke get to be so influential? Where and when did he begin his journey? And what does Geometry Dash's history mean to him? Join me as I explain Luke's answer to these questions and therefore display the Rise of Luqualizer, how a Geometry Dash legend came to be. Luke's first experience with Geometry Dash was watching someone play it at summer camp in 2014. Thinking the game looked pretty cool, he ended up getting the light version in July of that year, and by the end of the summer, he had managed to complete all the main levels up to Jumper, all the light version had to offer at that time. Soon after, he forgot about the game for a while, but when 1.9 came out in November, he stumbled across a video of Theory of Everything 2 and quickly became reinterested in the game. In December 2014, he bought the full version as a late birthday present, allowing him to truly begin his exploration of the game. Although it's hard for Luke to pinpoint an exact moment when he began to feel like he really wanted to become good at the game, there are a few major time periods that made him realize that he had the potential to be really good, all of which motivated him to improve as a player. The first one was mid to late 2015, at which point he had completed all of the main levels and a handful of user-created demons, and he was ready to start interacting with the community. So he made an account on Touch Arcade under the name Electrixel and began making posts, and was also occasionally active on the GD forums. During this period, Luke had a strong desire to verify levels for other people, and thanks to his frequent activity, he was trusted with 3 different verifications: Lightspeed, Dog of Fire, and Dark Descent, over the course of a few months. Surprising himself, he completed all 3, which stood as some of his hardest completions at the time. His success with these levels made him realize he was pretty decent at the game and had potential to improve even further. Another important time period for him was early to mid 2016, by which he had cut ties with his old account, moving on to Localizer, his present name. Between March and October, he had a number of notable completions, including Alphabet X, his first list demon, Switchblade by Twoots, Ultraviolet, Necropolis, and lastly Cyber Chaos, which ended up being his hardest demon for a long time. However, despite these successes, his hardware at the time wasn't good enough to get recordings of these levels, but this didn't demotivate him in the slightest. He began to ease into low-end list demons, and this process made him a lot more confident in his skills. Yet another important time for Luke was the very beginning of 2017. In December of 2016, he purchased a brand new laptop, which allowed him to upload completions with video proof. After spending most of late December and early January rebeating demons on recording, Luke decided to tackle a brand new challenge, Red World by Seri. At the time, this level only had 2 victors and was most likely harder than Cyber Chaos on 60Hz, meaning that it would be his new hardest level upon completion. After some days of grinding, a sad fail at 98%, and a break due to vacation, Luke managed to finish the level off, making it one of his most unique completions yet. Less than a week later, Luke decided to give the old version of Cataclysm a try, and ended up shocking himself with a fluke from 45%. This motivated him to go for the new version, which he also managed to beat pretty quickly. But he wasn't done yet. Just a few days later, he turned his attention to Ice Carbon Diablo X, which he soon beat as well, having gotten 68% the previous year. His success with these 2 levels, which had seemed unbeatable to him just a year prior, gave him a huge confidence boost. About a month later, on February 28, 2017, he beat the Hell Zone as his new hardest demon, serving as a huge milestone for him. By this point, he was really beginning to feel like a good player. Lastly, May of 2017 was an incredibly important time for Luke as a player, both confidence-wise and popularity-wise. On May 22nd, after many months of hype coupled with controversy, Black Blizzard was finally verified by Kermal. Pretty much everyone in the community was playing it, so Luke figured he would give it a try to see if he could do the entire mini-cube at the beginning. After successfully passing it and messing around with some other parts, he decided to attempt the level as a new hardest. Luke described it as an incredibly intimidating level at first, but he felt like he could do it. Over the course of the next week, he gradually made progress until he had a 98% fail, easily his worst fail in the game at the time. Although this death devastated him at first, and ultimately resulted in him dropping the level for nearly 3 months, it turned out to be beneficial in the long run. As soon as he got over all the negative emotions, he began to grasp the significance of his progress. By attempting a level with top tier difficulty and almost pulling through with it, he'd proved to himself that he was indeed a good player, and he began to feel like he was capable of doing pretty much anything he put his mind to. Not only did this grow Luke's confidence, but it also grew his channel as well. His Black Blizzard fail received a ridiculous amount of attention on YouTube, surpassing 50,000 views in less than a week. Additionally, his Dark Travel video that he uploaded the day after the fail blew up as well, both helping to kickstart his channel growth. Due to the success of these videos, he propelled from 1k subs to over 4k by the end of June, meaning that if his choke at the end of Black Blizzard had never happened, chances are his channel would have been a lot smaller. These 4 motivation boosts stand out to Luke as the most important, and he's confident that he wouldn't be anywhere near as good of a player as he is today without them. Localizer has been interested in Geometry Dash's history for as long as he can remember. His interest started in early 2015, when just a month or 2 after purchasing the game, he came across 2 demons that were considered impossible at the time, ICDX and Silent Club. Previously unknown to him, these levels immediately caught his interest, which was amplified by the obscurity surrounding them. Luke wondered, where had these demons come from? How did the creators verify them, and has anyone ever completed them legitimately, or had they simply been written off as humanly impossible since their release? To Luke, it felt like no one knew the answers to these questions, and YouTube didn't help much either, the few recordings of ICDX and Silent Club being minuscule progress videos. Despite the fact that the mystery that used to shroud these demons is practically non-existent now thanks to the efforts of the Restoration Union and other groups, Luke will always remember the excitement that he felt upon first discovering these impossible levels from the past. As he delved further into the community over the course of the next year, he would begin to meet other people that shared his newfound fascination with the history of the game. Luke's fascination with old, once impossible levels like ICDX and Silent Club would prove fateful, when in October of 2020, he became the first person to beat Silent Club legitimately, after which the level was re-rated. With this event, Luke's love of the game's history turned into him making the history himself, as he did what no one had done before. Localizer is not only a good Geometry Dash player, but also a history maker, who had similar roots in the game to many others. Whether you began by watching a friend play, hearing about it in the classroom, or simply by stumbling upon it yourself, taking after Luke's self-belief and determination may help you improve your Geometry Dash skills. Perhaps, with this determination and confidence in hand, you too may one day make Geometry Dash history. Big thank you to Localizer for making this video possible. His answers to my questions were super thoughtful and insightful, and this video wouldn't have been the same without his immense help. He's nearly at 30,000 subs, so go subscribe. His link is in the description below.